Tom Harris returns to his hometown after years of fighting in foreign war zones, carrying deep wounds that no one can see. The intense experiences of the war imprinted on his soul endless nightmares, reminiscences of terrifying moments from which he could not escape. The gunshots, the deadly sights, and the inability to return to his comrades all surrounded him like ghosts. Tom felt like he had lost a part of himself, a part he couldn't get back. Panic, anxiety, and guilt haunt him every day. When he returned to his family and friends, Tom couldn't fit in. The sympathetic eyes and worried eyes of his relatives made him feel even more lost than ever. He is no longer the man they once knew, no longer the friend, son, or brother they once loved. He tried to retreat into the shell of loneliness, to find quiet places where no one bothered, where he could avoid questions, suspicious looks. One morning, when the feeling of impasse was rising, Tom decided to leave his secluded house and go to a nearby animal sanctuary. He hoped that at least this place would bring him a little peace, a little silence in his soul. When he stepped into the sanctuary, the images of the injured animals made him feel sad. But what particularly caught his attention was Storm, a wild horse that had just been rescued from illegal hunting. Storm has a wild appearance, with eyes full of fear and insecurity, and also seems to carry invisible wounds. Looking into the horse's eyes, Tom felt a deep sympathy. He sees in Storm a part of himself, a soul that is hurt, disoriented, and doesn't know how to find freedom again. Although he didn't know anything about horse care, Tom decided to stay at the sanctuary and began to take part in Storm's care and training. Every day he came early and left late, gradually getting used to feeding horses, bathing, and training. The first steps were difficult, but gradually, as Storm began to trust him, Tom also began to feel a change in himself. Although he didn't say a word in the peaceful moments with Storm, he felt a little peaceful. A part of him seemed to be healed. The panic attacks began to subside, and he realized that caring for another being was also how he took care of himself. One day, as summer gradually gives way to the cool autumn breezes, Tom decides to challenge himself and Storm more seriously. He realized that simply taking care of the horse was not enough for him to go further in his healing journey. Tom knew that in order to truly overcome the psychological wounds, he needed to have a real challenge, a chance to face the fears, the wounds that were ingrained in his mind. And that comes when he decides to take Storm on a special training course where they both have to overcome obstacles, tests of patience and concentration. It was raining lightly that day, but Tom didn't hesitate. He led Storm out, determined to help the horse overcome his fears. The first steps were very difficult. Storm was scared, not daring to step over obstacles. Tom could clearly feel the insecurity in Storm's every step, like the pent-up fears in his heart. But instead of giving up, Tom patiently continued, encouraging Storm little by little. The winds blew through, and the two gradually formed a special connection, a deep empathy without words. When Storm finally overcomes all the challenges, Tom feels like a new fire is igniting in his heart. Not only did he help horses overcome fear, but he himself overcame pain, guilt, and panic. Standing by Storm's side in that moment, Tom realized that he was no longer lost. He has found a significant part of himself, and the friendship between him and Storm is the key for him to open the door to recovery. A sense of relief, freedom, and hope crept through Tom's every breath, as if he had truly regained the meaning of life that he had previously lost. The relationship between Tom and Storm gradually became an indispensable bond in the lives of both of them. With each passing day, Tom no longer felt the nightmares weighing on his mind. Instead, he feels responsible with a clear goal, to care for and coach Storm. The times when he practiced with the horse in the early mornings, when it was still a little cold, or the evenings when the two of them walked on the grassland, all became precious moments, helping Tom gradually find peace in his soul. He began to feel a change in himself, little by little. The small steps in Storm's training, from the horses no longer being afraid to walk through obstacles to the horses opening up to his owner, are also steps in Tom's own healing journey. Every time he looked into Storm's eyes, Tom found himself in them. He realized that, just as the wild horse had endured the pain of loss and fear, he had also experienced wounds that did not heal. But now, both are on the road to recovery, although not easy but always full of hope. The horse taught Tom patience and loyalty. And it was Tom who helped Storm gradually regain his trust in people, no longer panicking or trying to run away. One afternoon, as they were standing together, the afternoon sun shining on the horse's back and shining on Tom's face, he felt his heart expand. Needless to say, but this relationship has become the biggest source of encouragement in his life. Tom understands that, although sometimes the feeling of loneliness still returns, he is no longer a completely lost person. He has a friend, a companion, and together they overcome all challenges. In the process of caring for Storm, Tom not only finds a purpose in life, but also finds himself. One morning, when Tom and Storm were practicing in the field, an unexpected event occurred, causing their relationship as well as Tom's healing journey to take a critical turn. While practicing to overcome barriers, a sudden loud noise makes Storm panic. The horse scurried out of control, galloping through obstacles without following Tom's commands. Although Tom tried to call back, Storm's panic left him unable to control the situation. As Storm rushes through the small forest behind the sanctuary, Tom has only one choice: to chase. He didn't think about the danger that might befall him. He only knew that he had to find Storm. He had to help the horse escape from the fear it was facing. Tom rushed out of the safe zone, following Storm's figure in the light rain, his heart pounding. Just as he felt when he found Storm, the horse was trapped in a thick bush, panicked and exhausted. But in that moment, what Tom didn't expect were the deep emotions he was also facing. Standing by Storm's side, with both in a state of exhaustion, Tom realizes that he himself is trapped in his past. Like Storm, he ran away for a long time, not facing his own pain. But now, in this situation, he could not leave Storm behind, nor could he continue to run away from the feelings he had pent up for so many years. Both are in the midst of unhealed wounds and unovercome fears. Tom gradually realized that recovery does not come from avoidance, but from facing and accepting. Storm patted the horse and gently comforted him. He understood that he had to move on, not only for Storm but also for himself. It was the moment Tom decided to confront the traumatic memories and participate in therapy programs to truly heal. He knew that this would be a long journey, but now he was no longer alone. The friendship between Tom and Storm has become a motivation for both of them to face the pain in their hearts, helping each other find the way forward, no matter how difficult it is. Time passed, and with each day, Tom and Storm grew older. Together, the two overcome challenges, from difficult training sessions to times facing fears, not only for Storm but also for Tom. With patience, courage and friendship between them, the two gradually rose from the wounds in their hearts. Tom began to participate in PTSD therapy sessions, where he learned to face painful memories and began to free himself from his past hauntings. He no longer felt useless or lonely. He finds peace in his idyllic moments with Storm, and gradually, he opens up to his loved ones, regaining the connection he had previously lost. Finally, one day, after months of training, Tom decided to take part in a local horse racing competition. This was a challenge not only for Storm but also for himself. On the track, with the cheers of the crowd and the tense atmosphere, Tom and Storm showed a strong connection that could not be separated. They overcome each obstacle perfectly, affirming the power of friendship and perseverance. When he reached the finish line, even though he didn't win first place, Tom knew that the real victory was in the journey they had gone through together. It was his and Storm's recovery. The two not only overcome external challenges but also triumph in internal struggles. Tom was no longer a lost person, no longer immersed in the ghosts of the past. He had found himself, and the most important thing was that he was no longer alone. As the late day sun shone on Tom and Storm's faces, they stood side by side, needless to say. The two know that the journey has never been easy, but they have found an important part of life: each other. Friendship and companionship have helped them heal deep wounds, and in the light of the new days, They are ready to move on, no longer afraid, no longer looking back at the past.